Hello everybody and welcome to another Beyond All Reason video. Today we have a 1v1 of Goopy versus the TheRxyy. I believe that's how you pronounce it. I'll just call them TheRxyy. And when we look out and zoom out on this map is a 1v1 up to 3v3 map. And we can see there are several starting positions. One here, one where Goopy has started here, and another one there. Also, the map is mirrored on its diagonal. So as you can see, both Goopy and TheRxyy here has started in the exact same position on their sides, just flipped. And yeah, so as we go through these early stage, I will quickly comment on the fact that we see Goopy here as Cortex going for a very early aircraft lab, which is odd. Whereas we see a bot lab Cortex from TheRxyy, and Wind not doing too well as well. Now, we have seen this map before on the channel, where I believe it was a map with Sabotage, I think it was Sabotage vs Flash, maybe, where the one player started there and the other player started exactly where TheRxyy is. Now, the advantage of this position here is that you can actually walk up this hill as it's transversable, and then get these extractors here with relative ease. And also this high ground here gives you a great radar position where you can see a long distance without it being really too contestable. Whereas when we look at Goopy's starting position here, this is a very sheer cliff all the way to there, meaning he's not going to be able to get any of those northern metal points at all, which is going to limit his expansion options. We say that, but TheRxyy's in the same situation here. Not gone for a single combat unit yet, going for 2 engineers into a Resbot and then into grunts, whereas we see Goopy here going into bombers. Now, obviously with Wind as low as it is right now, not great, as he needs a lot of energy to get these bombers off the ground. As we see, it's 4,600 energy, which is more than, you know, a single aircraft engineer requires. And if we quickly switch over here, we can see that it is, well, almost 3 times the Tech 1 construction bots of TheRxyy. So not going too well yet for Goopy. There is a 10 OS difference here, and that is quite a substantial, 13 OS difference between the two players, but they are both in the top 30. Goopy we've seen many times on the channel. TheRxyy, this is the first time we've seen them. Now TheRxyy with several grunts already on their way out, and the bomber here on its way in. He has now spotted the bomber. We'll not really be able to get too much done. Yeah, unfortunately, he'll get that half-built windmill. The air defense is operational. Goopy realizes there's not really much to bomb. He's going for this double windmill here. And we see a Trasher come out here. Does get a single windmill, but that bomber does get destroyed. Now, for the time it took Goopy to build that one bomber, all it really destroyed was 2 windmills and a solar. Now, I would argue that that's probably not really worth it. But who knows? Goopy did build a single shuriken here, which is going to help with any raiding. TheRxyy does have a slight unit advantage, but this map is so large that by the time his units get across, it's already too late. And we can see Goopy already has a force that can rival TheRxyy's already. Switching back over here to TheRxyy, his expansion is technically unguarded, this engineer, but the armed mal extractors will help against some initial raiding if that does happen. The shuriken doing a great job at mopping up any last grunts that are left over in Goopy's base. Now, Goopy not expanding out yet to these additional close range metal points. Hasn't built a single engineer yet. which is somewhat surprising. Only just starting to get res bots up. This is a spectator comment here on saying, "Oh my god, wind bad." And we are starting to see TheRxyy here pushed up a construction turret before leaving his base, which is good, but he doesn't really have much in the way of units right now and can quite easily get overwhelmed by what Goopy has. This engineer going north here is going to get taken out by these forces of Goopy if he closes in. Now what we see Goopy here actually doing is what's called containing. He knows where his base is, so he's just trying to build a box around him. Push up as far as he can and keep TheRxyy in his base, unable to push out. And because of that, he's keeping these units contained here. He's keeping TheRxyy in his base, unable to expand. And that just gives Goopy basically free reign to kind of do what he wants. And forces TheRxyy to have to send units to assist the expanding engineers as well, which unfortunately didn't happen quick enough, and he is going to lose probably that engineer and that metal extractor, which isn't too big a deal. Oh, instead he changes direction actually. Oh, no, there we go. He's getting the engineer anyway, so that's the expansion engineer gone, and he's going to get round the back of the base, which is currently undefended. And this could be some big economy damage for Goopy here. Goopy thinks he's probably got the unit number here. Unfortunately, he's just not able to keep up. See, this is what I don't understand. TheRxyy has more economy. Twice the amount of economy, actually, almost, in times. And yet he's not able to push out enough units. He desperately needs to get more in the production here. He's building metal extractors, which will give him loads of metal. He is currently energy stalling, which is his big problem. Trying not to lose another engineer. Goopy doing a great job at controlling two sets of forces. Controlling this force here, trying to clear a path around the back, and that path has now opened up. Not enough units to defend that backside, and as Goopy goes in, he's going to try and get some more energy damage on TheRxyy here, and this path will get round. Luckily enough, these windmills are split up enough where they're not gonna chain react, and 4 windmills is probably still not enough damage to make up for the loss, as long as TheRxyy can react quick enough and replace it, which at the moment he doesn't have an engineer on energy. Meanwhile, let's quickly split over again to Goopy's base. He has 1 engineer on energy. We see him move down here. He's got a couple more just expanding. He doesn't have that much in the way of build power going out right now. He has another construction bot there. He doesn't have a construction tower. His commander is the only build power on the map. But we see Goopy again containing TheRxyy, keeping him in this space here, not letting him spread out. Goopy is consistently dictating the game, and he is just on defense, purely on defense. And a second nano might not have been the right choice. He's using it to try and pump out as many wind turbines as quickly as possible. Right now, he just needs units on the field. Getting this res bot is, if anything, probably the wrong choice. There is a lot of reclaim on the field though right now. 400 around the back, 500 here, but TheRxy's not paying attention. This resbot's just going to walk right into Goopy's base and not actually accomplish anything. Now, if TheRxyy can keep the lead, he's technically expanded more than Goopy. If he can keep hold of that lead and keep building his economy up, then he has a chance to absolutely flip this on Goopy. The difficult thing is he needs a high level of micro to be able to out micro Goopy right now. And he needs to clear these forces up that are just sat outside of his base permanently. And at the moment, he's not able to do that. He's constantly throwing forces in and losing them. There goes the rev spot. We do see a little bit of harass here as a single grunt manages to do some work. But the rate in which the swarm of grunts coming out from Goopy, he's just able to outproduce TheRxyy, even though TheRxyy has 2 construction turrets on this one factory, and he's building more. He does not really have the energy to build more right now. And moving the commander out to maybe assist with this fight might be a good choice. The issue is that these units can just run straight into the base. And again, we see another fight here. TheRxyy about to lose even more grunts. He just needs to mass produce as much as possible. This is why he's trying to build that power. He's trying to get more units on the field. But he keeps throwing them in losing numbers and putting himself on the back foot constantly here. He joins up these 2 forces of 11. Looking good so far. Can he hold out? That is the question. He needs to hold out this vehicle lab. If you get the vehicle lab out, oh, is that surprisingly going for incisors? Pounders may be a good, valuable choice here because he can use the anti-swarm aspect of them to deal with the grunts. Is both players actually now taking the same strategy here. Goopy and TheRxyy here both transition into the vehicles on the top of the hill. And I don't know if this grunt force is going to be obliterated here by all of these armed metal extractors. And the armed exploiters clearly pay off there as those grunt forces not able to push in. Again, TheRxyy splits up his forces too much and does get his forces destroyed there. But as we zoom out, still TheRxyy with the economy advantage right now by 14. He's doing very well. He's definitely ahead when it comes to that, and ahead with energy. He's transitioned completely away from bots now. He's still keeping the bot lab. Incisors do trade quite favorably into grunts if they can keep up. Good. Harass again with some single grunt here, managing to get in the way and take out an engineer with a metal extractor. That one nat that was alive will stop that. But yeah, the transition timing of TheRxyy was a lot better than Goopy's, and he's able to build up a sizable force of incisors here. But he is just rushing them straight towards Goopy. Whether that's a good choice or not, it's unsure. He actually doesn't know they're there. And then all of a sudden, boom, loads of forces. Goopy getting massive amounts of flanking damage on these incisors. And the trap is sprung, and all of Goopy's tanks survive, actually. And TheRxyy's force has been decimated quite a bit. And not looking good. This armed extractor almost gets built. But yes, as the spectators are mentioning, yes, that's 3 engineers dead. That is quite a substantial chunk. And that's not good. But he still does have all of this expansion here, which Goopy's yet to get himself. But still, he's behind. Goopy did lose containment, and because of that, we do see some forces going around of TheRxyy getting some like expansion harassment, and it's doing well to kind of force Goopy now to have to react. Goopy now in more of a defensive phase rather than an offensive phase. And we can see here that these incisors unfortunately can't shoot over each other. So all that does mean is that some of those there weren't firing. And a great favorable trade there for TheRxyy. He needs to keep pushing those forces forward. If he can get a res bot up there, which he does actually have. 1.6k metal in the middle. Can TheRxyy keep up the pressure and force Goopy back? Meanwhile, we can see on the top here, Goopy's having to micro this shuriken here to stop these grunts coming through and managing to get all the triple economy there. And good harass from TheRxyy. TheRxyy being forced back yet again, but Goopy's commander is on the move. Goopy's commander moving towards the middle to try and secure that reclaim field where he sees he's losing. But with 2.9k metal. That is a lot of metal to leave on the field uncontested, so he needs to help. TheRxyy does have a unit advantage by now, 28 units as opposed to the 18 here of Goopy. And Goopy deciding to build some laser towers in the middle here to try and cover this. Resbot there getting resurrection rather than reclaim. And the starting shuriken that was built has been taken out. Meanwhile, this is a big enough force here that could take out that laser tower quickly if TheRxy's paying attention. Unfortunately, there we go, he does now. And that's going to be basically all of the outside expansion of Goopy dealt with. Meanwhile, we do see a transition to Pounders from TheRxyy here, also moving his commander out. The issue with Pounders, they are great for what we're seeing here, but they are very slow, and if they get flanked, the enemy can just run past you and not really have to worry about it. So TheRxyy really needs to dictate the fights here and push these Pounders into an advantageous position for him. If TheRxyy leaves this reclaim field in the middle too long, it is going to cause him problems, as Goopy's just resurrecting all those forces, and then he's going to get outswarmed if he's not careful. And engagement doesn't quite happen there, a little bit, but he falls back quite quickly. Here we see some pressure coming in from TheRxyy here as he does manage to push in. Goopy's commander technically a little bit exposed here. His Pounders are going to do good work against it. If he positions the Pounders well, they will keep his forces off. Meanwhile, though, Goopy getting a bit of flanking damage, and these forces are going to push right in. TheRxy's starting to make good use of his advantage in metal here, pushing out maces, thugs at the same time. Those forces should get cleaned up. But TheRxyy in a weird position here. He's spread out his units really far, leaving his commander really exposed. Meanwhile, this has positioned Goopy in a strong spot. TheRxyy has no forces left in a decent position to stop this push here. There are a few units, but not going to be enough. TheRxyy decides now's the time to push in, does start pushing in towards Goopy's commander. TheRxyy has the advantage in units here, pushes down quite substantially, but the forces from Goopy pushing into the vehicle lab, all of these incisors are going to be able to push around and make substantial damage, but TheRxyy has pushed Goopy off of the middle. Substantial amount of damage taken place. These Pounders making short work of all the grunts. Goopy really on his own here, risking it all, but the incisors managed to get through. TheRxyy not reinforcing his base, and we may see a huge amount of economy damage about to happen to TheRxyy. Deciding he's trying to just go all in on the comm. He don't think these forces are going to be able to catch up to Goopy's commander, and TheRxyy's base is taking massive amounts of damage. 2 metal extractors gone, and a substantial amount of energy damage. Construction turret also gets destroyed there. 3 more engineers probably. Construction, another construction turret, 3 construction turrets, 4 construction turrets, bot lab gone, and TheRxyy in a dangerous spot right now. And unfortunately, Goopy has managed to recover his forces and is now going to push back TheRxyy. TheRxyy did manage to claim the entire metal of the middle, which is 3.7, if he can get that reclaim quickly with his commander while it's there. But that was a big hit. A very big hit. Can he get it back up in time to make an impact? The Pounders doing work here, stopping the grunts that have been pouring out. Goopy still not switching off of incisors. Unfortunately enough, TheRxyy did manage to do a substantial chunk of damage to Goopy's forces. Goopy was building up forces for a long time, now doesn't really have anything left. Goopy deciding to dive in with his comm here. 50% health. That is a bit risky. Only gets a single degon off before he falls back at least. TheRxyy still right on the front line here, trying to keep these forces alive. He desperately needs reinforcement forces, which we do see coming along the top. Goopy now... Oh, Resbot's pouring in the back. Resing, healing up Goopy's comm. As we have a comm v comm duel here. And this is not looking good for TheRxyy. Needs the energy to be able to degun these forces. But in the end, TheRxyy actually manages to come out on top. Goopy falls again, and TheRxyy manages to take the win. What a turnaround. I was really expecting Goopy to win that one. He was containing TheRxyy very early on, and but the early vehicle transition and those pounders really made the difference. Here's the ending stats for you that are interested. TheRxyy with 9k metal at lead here, and energy produced fairly similar. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.